Hi, I'm Jeannie Darneille and I represent the 27th District in the State Senate. I'm very honored to represent you, and even in these hard times. You may know that the Senate Republican Coalition has announced its budget proposal. It was done in a bipartisan way, in the sense that there were members of the Democratic Party who were in the room during the discussions of the budget, and they were able to, let's say, move the dial a little bit towards Democratic values in the budget that's been proposed. But as you can imagine, there are literally hundreds of items in the budget, and so for me to have some concerns about several of them is probably not a surprise. I have major concerns on issues that I've worked on for the last 12 years when I represented you in the House of Representatives. And you know me to be a person who's worked, I hope, tirelessly. I know I could do more, and I do try to help the poor in our community. We have one of the most interesting legislative districts because we have both people who are very rich or wealthy in our district, and we have people at the very bottom of the economic spectrum who need our help. And so when the budget was announced and it made major changes to something we call the Disability Lifeline program, and actually took away the small $197 cash grant that's used by over 20,000 people in our state to be able to meet their daily needs for a month, $197. They've instead shifted them into a program that we started a couple of years ago for another category of people who are disabled. It's called the HEN program, not a very good name, but it stands for Housing and Essential Needs. And they've taken the money for that program, which was to serve about 3,500 people, given a little bit more money in the budget for it, but added 20,000 more people. 20,000 more people to be served under that smaller amount of money. So I have major concerns with that aspect of the budget. Also very concerned about the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families programs. This is the Working Connections Child Care, maybe something you've heard of. That's where we provide, typically it's a low-income mom who's struggling to get back to work or going to school, and she can't afford childcare. And so we assist her during that time she's in school or until she can get on her feet in a new job. We've got changes in that program. We've got changes in the amount of the monthly grant that they receive. And in fact, one of the aspects of the change that particularly strikes me as both ironic and wrong is that they've eliminated the additional $90 per month if a woman who is on TANF has a child during the course of her stay on TANF. I find this to be completely heinous. To have a family that's struggling on a few $100s a month, if they have another child, to still have to struggle on that same amount and not receive that $90 per month for a woman who has chosen to have her child. It strikes me as preposterous that the Republican Party has decided to promote a budget that discriminates against her and that victimizes her further. So I have major concerns about that aspect of the budget. And finally, all the economic development programs that our city and county depend on to attract new businesses sustain major cuts in this budget. And the housing programs that we use to provide shelter to people who are homeless, to provide help for low-income working families who can't afford good housing for themselves, to be able to keep their children housed. Those programs have been eliminated or gravely cut in the Republican budget. So there's much to be said for the good things in the budget, and there are many. We have help for teachers. We have fully funded the $1 billion promised McCleary Act, that's the education funding. But my concern is that it's a real shame that we could fund our paramount duty by decimating the programs that demonstrate our moral duty. So I've talked to you about some of the major areas of the human services side of the budget that I have a lot of concerns about. Of course, there were a lot of good things also in the budget, but we'll be voting against the budget as it leaves the Senate in this form. It will be then going over to the House, where my former colleagues hopefully will rally the forces and make some modifications to this budget, send it back with a better outcome for the poor and disabled in our community, and we'll be able to rally the votes over here to concur on that. So please feel free to call me or contact my office if you have any thoughts about the budget. I know you're seeing a lot of press releases right now about it, and I will have a document on my website too that will talk about my concerns more fully about the Human Services side of the budget. So feel free to go there and make comment as well. Thank you so much. I am deeply honored, as I've said, to represent you in the State Senate. Thank you.